lao buani ge lao. Amamali wa duwe la gao. Nema duwe la duwe la lao. Ay alile, mare di lao buani ge lao. Amamali wa duwe la gao. Nema duwe la gao.
Okay, so we've done some more work, but what we want to talk about also is something called the sickle bush, or the sickle bush in Afrikaans. It has to do with bush encroachment, but this particular species, I guess, is known for, it is the most problematic like bush encroacher in southern Africa, or at least in this region of southern Africa. Like the gravias, for example, they obviously are problematic and they come up on trees. We've shown a lot about that. But these sickle bushes are A, more aggressive than the gravias in nature, and B, they have thorns. So overall they are a bit of a pest. They obviously have some ecological value, but they are considered like the worst out of all of them. And that's not usually the first target of bush clearing or intervention for managers is this sickle bush. I'm getting my words mixed up. The sickle bush. So in this area where we are working in right now, you can see that there has been previous intervention done. This area was sprayed about 8 years ago for this. I'm just trying to find. Here we go. So, well, actually, here's still some live sickle bush in here. You can see. But look at this dead tree that's around it. This is what the thorns of a dead sickle look like. You can, those are gnarly things. Spines, yeah. You can see all of this, yeah. So this was targeted by intervention, but let's talk a little bit more about the live one. So this is what the sickle bush leaves look like. You can see these buggers. Thorns, like crazy spines, whatnot. And the sickle bush is responsible for the most flat tires in Africa. And there's a joke in Afrikaans that it's not an acacia, but what acacia papvilia? What's it?
Acacia papvilia.
Yeah, acacia papvilia. So papvil means flat tire, so it's kind of a joke because it's just a pest overall for this region. But yeah, so that's some about the sickle bush. We came to one of our next plots and decided to sit down under a beautiful blue thorn tree. Look above me, it's a beautiful blue thorn tree. We'll talk about that a little bit more later because I want to go into those because they're really cool. But what I wanted to talk about was two different things. So the first thing is we just talked about the sickle bush and how it's an encroacher and all of those things. And like I said, on the previous farm, there's some evidence of dead sickle bush, and I know it was a problem at some point a few years back, but the management interventions took care of most of it. But on this farm that we're seeing, there is way more sickle bush. So like in this area we have, I would say it's 50-50 composition of sickle bush to gravias that are, the shrubs that are problematic. And what I'm trying to get at with that is that it comes down, in this case, I believe, to management priorities, right? So the farm we're on right now, like I have mentioned, primarily does cattle ranching. There's not a lot of like hunting or any sort of tourism. So for them, it matters more about rotating the animals through. If there's shrubs encroaching, it's not as big of a deal because, you're not walking through the bush, you're just having your cattle and selling those for auction or for beef or those kinds of things. But on a farm where there's more mixed use, so, tourism and all of those things, or hunting, for example, you have to have a bush that's clear because you can't hunt in a bush that's completely just thickets, right? So it's a higher priority for those types of managers to, maintain the bush in a different type of way. So that kind of comes down to pattern to process, which is something that I'll be working a lot with my thesis is what patterns do we notice and how is it explained by processes that are made by humans, I guess, if that makes sense, and the inverse as well. And then the second thing I want to talk about is, again, it sounds like repetition, but science, you repeat yourself because that's how you come up with conclusions, right? If you see something one time, you can't be like, oh, perfect, now we know. So science is a lot about repetition and observations and the same things over and over until you can draw a good, solid conclusion. So what I was going to say is that I'm noticing a lot on this farm heterogeneity again. We started in the eastern portion of the farm, and we're working our way west through the different areas. And in the beginning, I mean, a lot of it's similar in terms of like how it's structured, but we can see the species change, especially in the grasses, right? Trees are pretty consistent. It just is more about patterns, about where the trees are, how they look, how they grow, how they're being encroached upon. But at the top of the hill, more east, I noticed different grass. So a lot of like, the one that's sticking out to me is burr bristle. There's a ton of it everywhere. But now the more that we move west towards the river side, I haven't seen much burr bristle in the last few areas we've did over here. And instead, I'm seeing a lot of abundance of African love grass, which we also talked about today. We haven't talked about burr bristle, but we'll do a piece on that. But my long story short, my point is that diversity and species change in a really small, if we talk about, large, like if we talk about farm scale in a really small area, right? So that is my point with heterogeneity, is that ecosystems change drastically in a very small area.
When we were walking to our plot, we encountered a few warthogs, 3 big ones and a few little ones. And in thick brush like this, it's quite dangerous actually to come across them, because they will gore you, they will like charge at you if you're in their way. And when they have young, the mothers especially will get aggravated and they will try and attack you to protect their babies. And the gun's just there for self-defense, don't worry. So it's quite dangerous because they have tusks. They have 2 big ones, and then they have a little one just underneath it. The little one is a sharp one, and it will cut your whatever open. If they run into your like thighs, they will break it, and it will be shattered. It will not be good. But yeah, sharp.
Our lunch setup. Found a spot to sit. Okay, we're done for day 5. Just had our lunch down here by the flay. What's the flay name? Marsh. By the marsh. Yeah, beautiful spot. But we're done for day 5. We'll be back with day 6 tomorrow. We're gonna be doing a little bit work more this way, so it'll be exciting. Hope you liked the video, and like and subscribe. Never said that before. That's what I want. Like and subscribe.